We the Bing Bong Bunch.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Woodboy Podcast, aka Write Off, sponsored by Melbourne Recycle Timber Floorboards here in Melbourne. Anything for your recycle floorboards needs, they do us a good service, letting us use the studio here. Mm-hmm. Mason, how are you?
I'm very good. I have a great story to tell today.
Yeah?
And it's just the one I've written. It's not like...
You don't have any other stories?
I mean, I got stories, but probably shouldn't say a lot of them on here. Because, you know, I'm a very private person. It's been a fun week. Is one way to put it, definitely. And we're here now to write off. We escape the cruelties of the world with our stories of cruelty. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I just came up with that. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you like our stories, you know, feel free to comment on them. Remember to vote on the previous episode.
Yeah, we have an astounding 7 votes, I think, so far.
I think we have more than 7 votes. I had a look recently. It was at least 8.
More than 7.
But anyway, so we're going to announce who won last fortnight's episode on the next episode. So we give you a bit more time to watch and vote. And if you like the story prompts and you're feeling a little inspired yourself, why don't you write into us? We might even read your story on the show. Get a bit of audience interaction going.
Yeah, it'd be cool. That'd be cool. Send them through.
It's a call out to some people I know. I think you're fronting. I don't think you're going to do it.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a threat as well. But, yeah, what about you? What's been going on? I see you all the time.
Yeah, we live together, so we all know between us what's going on most of the time.
Most of the time.
Look, man, uni's about to start again, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that I hope that time isn't a factor and we still get to do this fortnightly. I imagine it will be, but you never know with these things.
We'll see how we go. You know, worst case, once every 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, look, 2 weeks should be fine.
I think 2 weeks is good. It gives us some time to write, and worst case scenario, it'll still be 2 weeks. Yeah, we'll try and lock ourselves to that, because that way we can get like 26 episodes done in a year long. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
That would be good. Well, just jump into this week's stories.
I think so. Like, there's not really much we can introduce. We're going to read our stories, the both of us. We'll start off by saying the prompts that we got, in case you didn't watch the full episode last time. That is also a call out to some people who didn't watch the full episode. God damn.
Someone's like, yeah, you should read out what the story prompts are for next week at the end of the episode. And I was like, well,
if you're gonna, if you're going to talk to us in person about this, do your research and actually watch the shit. So that if you're going to call us out on something, we're not going to be like, actually, we did that. Because it's embarrassing.
It just looks silly.
But thank you for, you know, the slight support.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you may go first this time.
Thank you. So my prompts for this week's story, my character was a fancy Funko collector, which honestly was just so underwhelming. But that's the nature of the game. My setting was an industrial era French town or city, and the story prompt was the main character wants to enter a golf tournament for $1 million, which, like, it's there, but I don't know.
Yeah, you got to take it and do what you can with it. You know?
That's it.
As long as it's... I'll decide if it's close enough. I'm sure it will be. If you mention a golf tournament for $1 million, that works.
Okay.
All right, go for it, man.
All right. So... I write this letter, hoping that for the first time in our relationship I can be honest. I was always afraid. Some part of you must have felt it. Must have been aware of how cruel you could be. I do not know if I blame you for what you are. Perhaps your sick obsession is just a remnant of a childhood you'd rather soon forget. Even as I sit here, contemplating how terrible things got, I feel bad for you, for what you had to endure this whole time. To keep your true self hidden behind the facade of a distinguished nobleman, all the elaborate decoration and showmanship. How long had it all been going on? How long had I been willing to be blind? When I met you, I knew you were someone special, someone different. Strangely enough, it was the collecting that first piqued my interest. I found it all so interesting. The exotic animals, the ancient relics, the art, and of course, the wine. When I told my friends of you, I was not met with the resounding congratulations I had assumed. Even at that time, some of them were rather blunt about you, giving scornful descriptions of your character. I thought they were jealous on account of me finding a good man, but I think part of me, even then, felt that you were perhaps not what you appeared to be. Though I suppose it is no surprise I fell for you. Those that knew me would realize that there was no chance I would give up so easily on a man as fancy as you. It seems if there was ever a time to reflect on our relationship, it is now. I must admit, looking back, it is a long line of regrets. The infatuation, the discovery of your obsession, the lies, the secrets, the death. I wish none of it had happened. I wish that I had listened to my friends and never seen you again. That way all of this would never have happened. At least not with me in the middle of it. If only I had been willing to see what you really were all those years ago. This letter is my goodbye. Do not try to find me, dear. I do not want to be found. All I have left to say is I hope you get the help you need. Reginald folded the letter in his hands and let go a deep sigh. It wasn't often that he read it anymore. He hadn't looked at it in months. Considering the current situation, he decided to glance it over once more and remind himself just how bad things had gotten. Michelle had left him. Sure, his reputation was ruined, and his friends all despised him. But to Reginald, none of that really mattered. All he could think of was Michelle. I'm not sure my plan will work, but there's hope for me. For us, he thought to himself as he placed the folded-up letter down onto his desk. I wonder what these men must think. They must have done this kind of thing 100 times over. Reginald pondered, looking across the room. It was nowhere near as elaborate and beautiful as the study he had constructed in the year 2092. That one, he thought, was almost needlessly fancy. Given the year, he had had to adjust to more simple tastes. Ornate wooden cabinets with bronze trim lined most edges of the room, each housing various oddities and art that Reginald was assured were of the finest quality of the time. His desk, at which he sat behind, sprawled out before him, its large surface covered with piles of books and loose paper. Beyond the desk's edge, in regal, dark armchairs, sat 3 men. The help he needed. The men in the room sat quietly, no one so much as looking in another's direction. They were a good crew, perhaps a little dysfunctional at times. When it really counted, they were the best out there. At least the best Reginald could afford. It had taken him by surprise that there were travellers out there that specialised in timeline rearrangement, men who didn't think twice about the potential consequences of their own actions. He often wondered if they had, or groups like them, changed his life in any way. He gathered he would never find out. Hell, they wouldn't even know they had. As the group sat in silence, Reginald glanced at the large grandfather clock to his left. He's late again, he thought to himself. Coming to rely on others for his plan had proven to be a rather nasty thought on his side, but a necessary one nonetheless. A moment later, as if deciding to wait no longer, Reginald stood up from his desk. He cut quite a fine figure in his court suit. The burgundy outfit with its lavish gold embroidery seemed to accentuate his long blonde hair. Looking at his face, however, there was a stark contrast. His dark brown eyes sunk deep in their sockets. Crow's feet sat nearby on the edges, his whole face too tired and wrinkled for a man in his 30s. Reginald walked around his desk and stood before the others. Well, seeing as Lachlan is late, I suggest we begin. Firstly, I'd like to thank... Reginald was cut off as the door to the study burst open. A young man, dressed in common stockings and a dirty tunic, entered the room. He looked a mess. Where the skin on his bony frame could be seen, it was stained with blotches of dirt or soot of some kind, the telltale signs of a productive factory worker. His unkempt hair was a tattered mess resembling a bird's nest, the smoke lingering from his cigarette clouding the cracked lens of his glasses. Sorry I'm late, boss. You know how it is. One last perimeter sweep before a meeting like this. We wouldn't want any undesirables lurking about. But please continue. It appears I interrupted. Lachlan helped himself to the empty seat alongside the other men and motioned for Reginald to continue. As I was saying, thank you all for your work up until now. I know that you probably don't care to be thanked, but indulge me a little, for I am sincere. Reginald picked up a stack of loose paper from his desk and began to hand them out to the others, a directness in the allocation of the individual sheets. On these sheets I've reiterated your individual assignments. I need you to memorize them and then dispose of them. The men in the room gave solemn nods of understanding as they glanced over the documents. Now, as you know, all the timeline planning we've done up until now is no good if you don't follow these points exactly. I won't have another failure like I did with the last crew. That means that as soon as we leave this room, the plan is in motion. No deviating, no improvising. Reginald said, as he cast a glance across the room, ending with his gaze on Yellen. Yellen held the paper up to his cigarette, catching the corner alight. He watched the sheet slowly burn away, the light reflecting in his glasses. Reginald was used to the man's strange behaviour by now. He supposed that working in this line of work it was a miracle he wasn't a little more deranged. He did, however, feel that if any one of them was going to ruin the plan, it was Yellen. I think I speak for the whole crew when I say this, boss. We have gone on long enough wondering what this job is really about. A nobleman like you does not come back this far in the timeline to assassinate a lowly commoner. And I'm not buying the whole to prevent a great evil thing either. Sure, the man is German, but there's no ancestral link to any of the prominent figures of the Third Reich. Hell, the man lives in France now. There's a good chance his children grow up here too. As if to impact his point, Yellen slammed the burning document to the ground and stomped on it repeatedly, sending small flakes of ash drifting across the floor. The others didn't say a word. A bad sign. They were usually quick to quiet Yellen, or at least make a joke at his expense after one of his outbursts. Reginald decided it was time he levelled with the crew, even if they could not understand why he had organised the assassination. Very well, he said, taking his seat. I suppose I owe you that much. Tell me, have you ever heard of a Funko Pop? You mean those collectible novelty toys of the early 21st century? Said one of the other men. A look of confusion covered his face. Exactly. I've gone through the history of those things. Their nasty origin can be traced back to a man living in Lille, France, in 1832. So that is why we are here today. By assassinating this man, we'll stop the Funko Pop from coming into existence. Reginald looked expectantly at the group, waiting for the next question. There was a moment of silence before Yellen spoke up. Okay, so, let me get this straight, because I've been on a few what I would call downright stupid jobs before. A nobleman, of one of the most prominent states in modern-day America, hires a group of time clowns to run a textiles factory in 1800s France as a means of putting himself in a position to assassinate a man at a golf tournament because he invents a toy sometime in the future. Reginald gave a slight nod in response and cleared his throat. Well, that's mostly right, except this man doesn't invent the Funko Pop. His son-to-be, Otto Kaus, is, as I've had to uncover through past failures, without a doubt the original inventor of the hamburger. I've had to trace the prevention of the Funko Pop to this exact point in time. Otto Kaus's father dies at the golf tournament before the ball hits him on the head. The idea for the hamburger never comes to him. He never passes it on to any friends, or most importantly his son. Hamburgers never exist, and the big boy burger chain doesn't come to be the inspiration for the first Funko Pop. Yellen nodded his head in thought. Okay, that makes a little more sense. One last question. Why are Funko Pops, as you've put them, an evil thing? If we understood that, perhaps we'd finally get a little satisfaction out of this job. Because, even after giving my life to them, collecting them, they took everything away from me. My friends, my reputation, my wife. I don't care if that brings you satisfaction. Your payment at the final rendezvous should suffice. On that note, there is nothing further to discuss. You have your assignments. See them through, and you'll be much wealthier men on their way to a timeline I could care less about. Reginald dismissed the men with a wave of his hand. Yellen, being the last to leave, turned towards Reginald as he stood in the doorframe. There's one thing I've been dying to say this whole time, and seeing as I probably won't have a chance to see you again, well, your face is hideous. You really should have done something about your time lag. I mean, good God, man, we've been here for months. Yellen shut the door, leaving Reginald alone in his study. Somehow, I don't think I'll miss them, he thought to himself. He walked over by the window and watched the men head out the building's back entrance into the alleyways of the factory district. He closed the shutters, retrieved a small satchel from one of the cabinets in the room, and made his way downstairs and out the back, making sure no one was left on the premises. Time to cover my tracks. As he closed the door to the alleyway behind him, He removed a loose brick from the wall of the building and lit the end of a fuse that had been concealed a moment ago. Checking no one else was around, Reginald walked briskly out of the alley and began to make his way through the back streets. As he rounded a corner in one of the industrial alleys, the pungent stench of smoke filled his nostrils. The factory was certainly aflame by now. Reginald stopped in his tracks. Ahead, no more than 100 metres away, he could see something all too familiar in these parts. A drunken labourer, probably from one of the neighbouring glass factories, had a young woman pinned to the ground, her face pressed firmly against the street, muffling any attempt at a cry for help. Reginald never liked this part of the job. Sure, he could do something. Simply yelling would have alerted some of the nearby workers or guards. But his words to the crew earlier were at this stage in the job deadly serious. As soon as we leave this room, the plan is in motion. No deviating, no improvising. Cursing the timing, he turned around and headed in a different direction. It'll all be worth it. That poor woman's misery is only but a fraction of that caused by Funko Pops in the future. And I'll be damned if some weak French peasant is going to stop me from bringing about real change. With that thought in mind, Reginald marched on his way to the golf tournament, on his way to vindication.
Damn. I didn't expect it to get so intense. Oh my goodness. That was good. Like, I don't think you can go first. You're not allowed to go first when we're telling the stories, because it's impossible to follow some shit like that up. That's
well so
done.
Dumb, though, bro.
It's dumb that, like, you somehow managed to take the dumbness and, like, I was on the edge of my seat. It's like, because this man, you know, he's morally grey, let's say. He's incredibly morally grey, and he has his priorities, which is just... The way you sort of unveiled the layers of how the Funko Pop, like, begins... It's very clever, like... Because, yeah, you had a fucked set of prompts to throw together.
Yeah.
You did your research, like...
I actually did my research of how Funko Pops became better.
Yeah, I remember you telling me, like...
So
I've been looking into
lame.
the first Funko Pop, and I'm like, why? That's crazy, but you've made it work.
There you go. There you go. Do
Honestly,
your research, folks.
That's good.
Leads to something.
That's good.
Thanks, man.
No, and yeah, I do like how you made the character of the prompt, like, he was the focus of the story, but he wasn't, like... Because that was the guy playing the golf tournament, yeah?
Yeah, well, I mean, the golf tournament's, like, part of it, but it's not...
all part of it, no, yeah.
It's not, like, the main thing, I don't think.
Yeah, and...
Because I was like, how the fuck do you really work that into being, like, actually the main story hook?
Yeah, no,
like it's there, but it's just, like...
Yeah, that
so
would just
dumb.
end up being, like, a made-for-TV movie. Like, we're gonna win the golf tournament.
That wouldn't even get made for TV, bro. That just... It exists literally right here. There's nowhere else. This can't exist anywhere else.
I don't know, man. It sounds like a what's it called? That guy that did Jay and Silent Bob. What's his name?
Kevin Smith.
It sounds like it could be a Kevin Smith plot. Honestly, taking out the development of the Funko.
Yeah, actually.
Oh man, I don't think I ended up bringing mine in. I wish I had brought one in just to emphasize the story.
I thought we had some here, bro.
Nah, I don't think I ended up putting them out.
Wasn't there like a Star Wars
There's
one
a
or some
box
shit?
of them somewhere.
Fuck them.
It's all good. Who gives a shit? Anyway,
if anyone actually does collect Funko Pops out there, let us know why the fuck you do them. Because look, I'll be honest, I had a few. I bought a few. Like it was a phase.
I've got a few as well. I got my Crash Bandicoot ones. I collected all them, well, like 4 of them, not all of them, and I cut it there. I got a few Marvel ones because I'm a shill.
Yeah,
I'm a shill.
But I think that's like most people. At a certain point, like I think I maybe bought 6 of them, and you have to go like, okay, like
you gotta cut it somewhere.
You're like, what's this really about?
I know someone.
Is this retail therapy?
Someone who you know as well actually has like every single Harley Quinn one, which I can see the appeal of getting all of that.
Wait, can you say who it is, and we can just bleep it out?
It's and it's impressive that she has them all.
Oh, it's a she.
Yeah, I might you know what? Maybe after this, I'll be like, hey, what's the mindset behind that? Because there's a similar thing, I guess, to me just getting all the Crash ones. Like it's a consistent visual look. Because the other ones I have don't go well together because it's just like a hodgepodge. Like one of them's Wolverine and one of them's like Scarecrow from Batman. They don't.
Yeah, like the ones I bought were all hodgepodge as well. But like, yeah, just
if it's unified, I think it can be like.
Yeah, I get it. Look, I think a lot of people like to collect things, but it's just There's way cooler shit to
There
collect than
is some
Funko
cooler
Pops.
shit. I will say some of the Funko Pops look good, but you look at the ones that are like Walking Dead characters, and it's like man A, man B. It's just like the most basic.
It has to be
thing.
a really distinct
It
character.
has to be a distinct character. That's why, like, the anime characters or some of the video game ones.
I mean, Crash Bandicoot, you go, okay, that's the only thing it can be.
Pop.
Yeah. But yeah, like you say,
pop.
if it's just fucking hell, if it's just like characters from a TV show like The Walking Dead, where everyone's just a person.
Everyone's a person. Maybe they have like a weapon or something.
The only thing,
just a person.
like, because I watched a little bit of The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the character's name. I think it's like Miss Shawn or something. African American lady with like
Oh,
dreadlocks and a fucking katana. Cool. It's like, okay, that stands out.
I feel like a Negan one would be cool because he has the bash, but that's about it.
But see, that's the bat is the distinguishing factor.
It'd be cooler to have a little statue of him. I never watched it. I just know the character from he's in Tekken.
Yeah, you know a lot of random shit.
I do. I just have little pockets. But that was an amazing story. I hate that I can't roast them yet because they're good. There's not much I can pick apart. You know what I mean? Like, I was into it, and I don't want you to hold back on mine because mine is good. Mine's great, and I'm going to read it right after this little preview of some shit that we've been working on. So stay tuned.
Joe's deceived. I love the dots in my coffee!
This is gonna take long.
That was exactly the kind of fucking sound I've been looking for! Oh, hello there!
It's a bit too rude, I know.
Take gun, dear. I'm so funny, it's so funny.
Woo! And that was some clips from the Bing Bong bits that are coming out soon. We need to edit those things.
They're...
I wonder what one we put up.
Well, wait, I think it's just going to be a mashup of some stuff.
Okay,
like, quick, out soon.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
if
in
you
the pipeline.
Yeah,
That's
if
in
you're
the
not
pipeline.
watching this and you're just listening to it, maybe watch it because they'll probably...
Yeah.
It's a very visual aid.
Speaking of, we haven't got the podcast on Spotify or Apple or Google or anything just yet, but that will be coming at some point. We just have to...
Yeah.
We have to work towards that, even though we say at the end of the episode, hey, follow us on there. We're not on there yet, but
Do
we'll
we?
be there. In the little thing I reckon.
Oh, you did.
Anyway, my story is about a saw ghost who lives on planet Girth, where everyone is thick with 2 C's.
Woo.
And flat Earth theory has been proven real, and the round Earthers have started a war. So I'm just going to get right into it.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm keen.
Okay. If you're gonna be that way, boy, then be off with it. Won't have no flat earther as a son of mine. Take your so-called science and don't think of coming back. It had been a couple weeks since the news had been released, but Marty's father wanted nothing to do with it. The man yelling at the start of the story is Ronald Thickington, a well-respected military leader of round earthers, and an all-round community man in Planet Girth society. With his big belly and hefty beard, you could consider him almost Viking-like, especially with his heavy-handed mannerisms. It was him that believed the Flat Earthers would let up a few months ago with their anti-curvature theories, so it's no wonder he is willfully ignorant towards the idea that planet Girth is in fact flat. Marty, a teenager with a can-do attitude and open mind, aimed to do the impossible and talked to his father about the evidence, and has now been evicted to the streets. A few weeks ago, he was as thick in size as his father, but as his beliefs slowly changed, so too did his diet, leading him to become rather slender. He looks in the window and sees his mother crying, his father quick to comfort her. Marty reminds himself that his father isn't a monster, and if he plays his cards right, he may be able to open up a dialogue with him before his blind idealisms lead him astray. He begins walking along the road to find somewhere to sleep for the night. Posters and flyers litter the dirty pavement. He makes one out that reads, "Don't believe the lies, we are a sphere in the skies." Marty hears a few muffled screams in the distance and diverts his path, as to avoid a smothering ambush by some thick round earthers. As tensions rise on the planet between flats and rounds, war is imminent. Territories identify with one ideology. Those of a differing mind either leave or suffer the consequences. Flat Earth extremists do something they refer to as convincing, described simply as throwing a non-believer off a cliff, while round earthers smother the flats with their thickness, suffocating them to death. He walks down a hidden alleyway that appears empty, but he's soon proven wrong as he sees a strange glowing figure towards the other end. Confused by this, he hides behind a bin as the glowing figure approaches. As it gets closer, he hears the whimpering sound that it is emitting. He can make out that it looks like a thick, floating girl. Despite his fear, he steps out to see if he can solve whatever being this is. The figure notices Marty as he asks, "Hey, are you okay? Who or what are you?" "Sorry, this is so embarrassing. I should go." The being turns away, but Marty beckons, "No, stay, talk to me. It'll be okay." The crying girl turns back and takes a seat next to Marty. Marty tries to put his hand on her shoulder, but phases through her. She laughs. "Never met a ghost before?" Marty's eyes widen. He had spent much of his life pondering the shape of the Earth, and had never considered the existence of ghosts. He takes a deep breath. "Can't say that I have." She smiles. "That's okay. It's nice to meet you. I've been sore for some time now, and I appreciate your consideration." Marty gets a bit confused. "Sore, like physically? Can you feel pain?" The ghost laughs again. "I can't feel anything at this point besides emotions, I guess. It's been a rough few weeks since the evidence came out." She points to one of the flies on the ground. "What has the world come to?" Marty looks to her again. "So you don't believe the Earth is flat?" His accent is changing, I'm sorry. Alright, Marty looks to her again. Marty looks to her again. "So you don't believe the Earth is flat?" "No way! It's just some bogus liberal Western propaganda! But that doesn't mean I don't support your freedom to believe it! Despite that, I was still kicked out of my flat earther home, made to wander through towns to find like-minded round earthers. I made it here a few days ago, but before I made myself known, some extremist flat earthers threw me off that building!" She motions to the tower at the end of the alley. "I guess they couldn't find a cliff. But I don't resent them. They know no better. They only know what they've been taught." Marty looks away from the girl, nearly tearing up himself. "I guess that's why you're sore. I'm sorry to hear that. It's a dangerous world right now." The girl reaches for Marty's hand, but phases through it, as if for a minute she forgot she was a ghost. Marty faces her again. "It's not the fall that makes me sore. It's the society pushes people to think that's the right thing to do." Marty looks again at the flyer. It reads, "We were right, push those round earthers to the edge," and responds to the girl. "Maybe there's a way we can change that. Maybe we can show the world that we can exist peacefully together, despite our beliefs." The ghost smiles at Marty, but her face soon drops in despair. "I know flat earthers, and those flames mean only one thing." The ghost motions behind Marty, who sees a legion of flat earthers marching with flaming torches towards the town. War is on the way. A horn blows out through the streets, signifying the round earth army to congregate and prepare for battle. Quick, this could be our last chance." That's Marty. Both Marty and the ghost head towards the town centre, desperate to make it there before the two groups clash. Marty sees his father wielding a bludgeoning mace, leading the Round Earther clan, and runs to him, hoping to intercept as the ghost continues towards the centre. Ronald sees him and halts his men. "Have you finally seen the light, me boy?" "Father, you don't have to do this. If we can't coexist..." Before Marty can finish, his father's booming voice overtakes him. "It's too late now, boy. Those flatties will stop at nothing to take us out. If ye cannot see that, then ye truly are blind." He pushes his son to the side and continues marching on with his army, all of whom ignore Marty. He stands up and manages to shout, "It is you who is blind, as you cannot see the end that this ignorant path takes you." Before his father is out of earshot, Ronald acts like he doesn't hear him. The two armies meet in the town centre. Tensions are high. Leading the Flat Earthers is a rather thin, slightly hunched man in a gold silk robe. He's holding some sort of sceptre with a sharpened disc at the tip. Marty catches up and watches from behind a building as Ronald Thickington stamps his mace on the ground in a commanding fashion and begins to speak. "Brother Salazar, ye have lost weight. That'll make it all the easier to knock you and your backwards theories out of this world." The gold silk man steps forward and raises his sceptre. Ronald, I see your cretinous ways have not changed despite the news. 'Tis a pity that we will have to do the convincing for you." Ronald's face turns bright red with rage. "Planet Girthers are born thick, and God created us in the Earth's image. It only makes sense that it be round." Ronald states through his beard. Salazar chimes back. As you can see, Thickington, my brethren and I are no longer thick. If we can be flat, then so too can the earth. Marty sees members of both sides making faces, as if they themselves are not sure what to believe anymore. As those faces change back to anger, the two leaders ready their weapons for attack. Ye and your heretic views will die with you! He turns to his soldiers. Men, on me mark! Before Thickington gives the order, the ghost flies between the two, petrifying Salazar. Thickington looks on in shock. Don't you idiots understand yet? Thick, thin, this, that. All of it just leads to more divide, more suffering and death. I was but one casualty, but after today there will be thousands more if we don't stop. It doesn't even matter if the earth is flat or round. What matters is that we listen to each other and accept that we may not share the same beliefs. Just like that boy said. The ghost points to Marty, who steps into view. If I can be friends with this flat earther as a round earther, then so too can we all. No more smotherings or cliff tossings. She looks towards the thin man leading the flat earthers. No more abandoning of sons or daughters. Salazar begins to bawl his eyes out, running towards the ghost, trying to hug her, but his arms phase right through. Through his tears, the muffled words, I'm sorry, can be heard repeatedly. Thickington sees the pain in Salazar's eyes, the pain of a parent who left their child for dead, and looks towards his son, a single tear rolling down his cheek. If being a round earther leads to more sore ghosts, then something has to change. He looks towards his men. Rounders, lay down the weapons. Salazar composes himself and motions to his people to do the same. From this day forth, we are no longer inhabitants of planet Girth. Nay, we are hereby inhabitants of planet all sizes are worth. He reaches his hand to the ghost's father, and the two shake. Salazar looks towards his daughter's ghost. She smiles as her tears stop and she fades away. Salazar cheerfully declares, no longer shall we let our differences lead to the death of friends and family. From now on, if we have something to say, we post it anonymously to online chat forums and echo chambers. Both sides holler in celebration and agreeance as thick and thin unite in an embrace. Planet all sizes are worth is now at peace. But, in this world travels quickly. Deep within the city's sewers, unbeknownst to those above, a short, dishevelled, green-skinned man answers some sort of audio device. Across from him sits an older gentleman with his back turned, holding a Rubik's Cube. The green one hangs up the device. Master, the war is over. Our time to strike evades us yet again. The seated man leans forward, revealing his long ratty hair, dirty purple suit, and weathered grey skin. He smiles. Now is not the time to lament, Grinkle. If we play our cards right, another uprising will occur. Our time in the shadows is nearing an end, and soon enough it would be our turn to strike down those who deny the cubic Earth theory. The end.
Tremendous. That's
you.
tremendous acting, though. I appreciate it. It just added another level.
Thank you so much. Nice. Next time, I think I'm going to decide the accents beforehand and write them down.
Dude, because I made some notes.
I could see you were making notes.
And one of the notes was Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
just because
the ghost became.
The ghost was like,
fighting.
Because Marty was like. He was like Canadian.
He was
and
Canadian.
Then he became Irish.
I know.
Which you said Marty's accent's changing.
Yeah. I had to lock that in.
And then the fucking guy, Salazar, sounded like Ben Shapiro.
That's what I was
And then he
for.
sounded like the fucking Bionicle that you do.
The Bionicle?
Kahlua, whatever that fucking guy is.
Oh, tequila!
Yeah, he sounded like that
shit.
too.
Okay.
It was just like an amalgamation of like so many. I mean, if you're jumping back and forth between like 5 different accents, it's just a matter of time before things just get out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're reading it all in one go. But that was good. That was
Thanks,
really good,
man. Were those the notes?
The notes were literally all accents apart from one. There was one. There was one note that I think it's Salazar. He said something or rather, and then so too can the Earth. The place is called Girth.
Oh yeah, but it's Earth, as in it's made of Earth.
Yeah. I was nitpicking. It was too enjoyable to actually.
I'm glad that you liked it. I had fun with this. What did you think of the bit at the end with the other cube?
I was so confused.
Yes.
No, that was really cool. That was really cool.
that was the bit I wrote first. The bit at the end, I was like, I have to have the cubic earth.
That's
theory
sick though, man. I love that because
Yeah.
like it just goes to show that like writing is not linear. It's not a linear process. Like you can pick one thing and that's the jumping board for the whole story.
Yeah, because like I sort of had my general idea. I wrote some dot points, and the way I wrote it, I wrote the opening paragraph, and then I wrote the bit at the end, the little city sewer bit, and then I wrote the opening, and then I wrote the big war bit at the end, and then I did the conversation with the ghost because that was like the most boring part for me, and that was honestly the hardest part because I had to sort of figure out what bullshit metaphor they were talking about. You know,
but no, there's some fucking good moments in that, man. Just like the whole fucking how they were fighting each other and how the thickies were just like smothering them and like it's just ridiculous.
I tried to do a bit of world building.
Yeah, no, it was good, man. It was. I actually really enjoyed that.
Well, I'll be honest and nitpick at myself. The idea that this guy can decide what the planet's name is just by yelling it out. Bit of liberty there.
Dude, for a moment there, the way you described the sewer thing. You had like this little green thingy, and then the master had like I'm pretty sure he says ratty hair.
I did say ratty hair,
and I was like, "Is this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?"
That's fair. Oh my god!
Just for a brief second, but I was like,
I
that
was
makes no sense.
picturing just like a really lanky guy doing this, with a long nose, grey skin, and shit.
Hey! Why the long nose?
Because he's like an anime character. Like, you know how the evil characters have like not like pointy noses, like a demon type nose.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my god, I hate you. And his little gremlin friend is like, Master! But yeah, I like my little characters that I made for this one.
No, that was very entertaining, man. It's very... Just like our delivery of those stories was just polar. That was just like mine was very much like I'm just speaking monotone. And then you were just all over the shop, but nice contrast. So hopefully that was enjoyable for you guys as well.
Yeah, I hope you all liked it. Remember to like the comments of this video and all the comments on the Instagram posts to vote for whose story you preferred. Hopefully we get some more votes this time. You know, take your time to watch this, but watch it. I guess if I say that they're not watching this yet. If I'm saying take your time to watch it, this doesn't make sense for me to say it. Hey, take your time to watch it.
Yeah,
They're
you
not
lost
getting
me.
That message.
You lost me.
I
man.
need to say that in person. Yeah, no, I'm confusing myself.
Myself.
Yeah, that's fair. But okay, yeah, good fun.
Cool.
Okay, what's next? Do we do trivia next?
Yeah,
Or
we'll do
the trivia next.
We'll move on to picking next week's stories. So that starts
Stories
with
first?
with our trivia.
Okay then.
You
I'll
go first. You go
Okay.
first.
I think this may be an
Which
easy
hold
one.
on. We'll reiterate in
Yeah,
case
do you want to explain it?
in case you guys missed this. I know some people didn't watch the whole episode.
Yeah, we got evidence.
The trivia is to decide whether or not we have to spin the wheel of handicaps, which is it's such a name in progress. I hate that name.
Wheel of Handicaps sounds like it could be taken out of context badly.
Because there's something there with like wheelchair because it's a wheel.
We'll
and
just,
it's
you know what?
handicapped.
We'll call it the fifth prompt. Working title.
Let's just call it working title.
Working title. We'll
Anyway,
call it
so
working title.
if we each ask each other a trivia question, if I get the one that Mason asks me correct and he gets the one I ask him incorrect, he has to spin the wheel and adds a little
It adds another
handicap
layer
and
of pain.
to the story he
process.
has to write next week.
Yeah. If we both get it correct, neither of us spin the wheel. If we both get it incorrect, neither of us spin the wheel. So you really have to like earn the punishment for the other person.
Even as I'm explaining this, I just am reminded of you saying your sister going. I just don't understand what this podcast is about.
Yeah. If you're watching this, you should understand it because you're probably listening. The whole point is listening. You're listening to a podcast and there's just a visual element. I don't know how you get to this point. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing?
We're randomly
explained
generating
it.
stories.
Randomly generating stories. Everyone who asks, what's the podcast about? Just watch it. Just
I mean,
watch it.
they're
At this
watching
point,
it.
I'm not telling them.
Anyway,
I'll ask you
that
your
aside.
question. Yes. Okay, so... in One Piece...
One Piece.
His name is One Piece. Who is the Shogun of Wano Country?
Oh, I'm going to assume that you're going in the current era. It is Orochi.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. Well done. Because I picked that and I was like, shit, it's so recent, he'll definitely get it. But then I couldn't figure out how far back to go for you not to get something, I guess. Well
Spoiler though, I'm not even sure if that's actually true. But
But it's true enough that
it's true
you know.
enough. Yeah.
Okay. I did a little bit of research on Orochi. I'm like, this guy's a prick. Oh my god.
All right. So this is my trivia question to you. Dennis is asshole. Why Charlie hate?
Because Dennis is a bastard man! Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh,
That is
man.
correct.
That felt...
I thought that was too easy.
Oh. See, because, like, you got halfway through saying, I'm like, what the fuck? It just all came back.
Damn it. All right, I'm going to go harder next week.
I'm going to go a bit
trivia.
harder as well, I think.
Because I had a bunch and I was just like, these are so, like...
It's hard to get a middle ground. It's either,
Yeah.
whoa, this is fucked, or...
Like, have you ever seen the show Hard Quiz?
I think I have, yeah.
Well, I mean,
think
the name of it basically sums it up.
They just, like...
People are like, yeah, I know heaps on this topic.
They
And
get
then
the most fucking, like, minor
nitpicky
detail
questions about, the producer on this show in season 3 had this thing happen to him. And then
What
they
was
fucking
that?
know
Yeah.
what it was. It's
Real
just
deep shit. And, like, I don't know.
nerds.
Anyway, they might add him. They added his mate, the cat, the fire cat Incineroar.
Oh, yeah,
Smash.
true.
They didn't add him. Anyway, Story
Who
plot
picked
time.
first last week?
I feel like I did.
I think you did.
Yeah, you go first, even if I whatever.
All right.
Go for it.
So, new prompts. Week 3. Let's go. Fuck yeah. It's week 3, baby. Okay, so I've got deaf as my adjective.
Death.
Deaf?
Death. Oh, wait, don't take from there again.
Oh, yeah, what am I doing? Dude, I was going to say as well, this reminded me of during his story, you guys heard when he said Earth.
I did say Earth, and I was like, you know what, Ronald.
Wait, is this the
Dickinson-
characters I'm picking from?
Yeah.
Okay, I already saw it and it's so fucking dumb.
What is it?
Corn.
A deaf chord. Yes, dude, that's better than Wolf Boy Pencil, bro.
It is, but it's... Oh, man.
Well done. Have fun with that. That's so funny.
And the setting is Bug Island.
That. I'll talk to you after the podcast. I don't want to give you ideas.
No, don't
on
give me ideas.
there.
I'm already formulating some
Fuck,
stuff. That's
man, I like those. I actually like those a lot.
okay. No, this is where you
This is
go
where it
astray
throws everything off.
really quick. Because at the moment, I'm like, all right, corn, bugs,
where you're
bugs eat
going.
corn. There's something there. The deaf factor, I don't know. I can see that this is your handwriting. So
Sorry. What is it?
you know, this actually isn't too bad. The main character wants to prove they're the number one of whatever they are.
The number one deaf corn. That's awesome. All right. Well,
All right.
it doesn't have to be that. You could.
Yeah. Deaf corn, Bug Island. He's the number one at what he is. Okay. Look, I mean, honestly, I'll take it. It's better than the fucking what I thought the Funko Pop thing was. So
In saying that, you took the Funko Pop one and rolled with it so well. So I'm excited for this.
all right.
Now
let's-
I shall pick.
Yeah, I'll take that off for you.
Thank you. So we will have a. I'm gonna go a bit like. Mess it around a bit. All right. What's this? A determined. That's all right. That's not too Wait, what? A determined table with 2 legs. That's my character.
Hey man, he's got something to prove. He's only got 2 legs.
I've already I can already put some shit together with that. Now, where does this table exist in? A town made of socks? There's something going on there. There's some like race relations in here.
Oh, man.
And we're gonna completely mess it up with this one. It's going to come on, baby. Okay. This is your handwriting, I can tell, because I didn't write this. A scientist has accidentally unleashed a giant carnivorous baby. So I'll read.
Oh, it's so good.
I'll read them out again.
So good.
A determined table with 2 legs exists in a town made of socks, where a scientist has accidentally unleashed a giant carnivorous baby. I can roll with it, man. That's gonna work. It's gonna be amazing. Oh god.
Man, actually, honestly, this is the best part of the podcast because the stories could suck, but just the idea of that is so funny.
I'm happy with that. That's gonna be fun. Okay.
That's a great prompt, bro.
Yeah, no,
proud of
I
that
like this. I think we both got some good ones, honestly. Like, we'll see.
I feel like there was something we meant to put in this jar last week.
It's like Sigma Male or some shit.
No,
Just like
it
some
wasn't
new
that.
name.
Don't bring that to the podcast. Anyway, I'll rewatch the first episode.
We'll chuck it in before next episode if we remember-ish. Cool. I mean, that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah,
Thank you so much for watching, guys.
Yeah.
Subscribe, share us with your friends. Explain the show to people who don't understand it for whatever reason, despite our clear explanations every time. It's episode 2. Anyway,
We'll get clearer.
We'll get way
with
clearer.
time. But yeah, I think we would have put in a little snippet for some other things we're working on, the Bing Bong bits, which, I mean, I'm sure some people might have been like, why the hell's the channel called Bing Bong Bunch?
Yeah, and that's why, because it's a bit more than just the
It's a bit more than the podcast.
A little hub. It's a little central hub for a lot of the creative sort of stuff that we want to work on.
Yeah. So there'll be some stuff coming out soon. Really cooked stuff.
It's cooked, but it's fun. You know, we have fun making it. We have a little laugh. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks, fans. Woo! I said the exact same thing at the end of last time.
Did you?
Oh, thanks, fans.
Thanks, fans.
I'll end every episode with that from now on.
Bye.
There we go. We got it a second time to go. Alright, that was fun. Thank you for listening to this episode of Write Off Podcast, hosted by Lachlan and Mason. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you're listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, leave a nice review and follow us. It really helps out. Follow us on Instagram at WriteOffPodcast, and feel free to email us as well at writeoffpodcast@gmail.com. Trust me, it's the right thing to do.